Oh, oh, oh. Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome to day 2, Wednesday at RPG and DB2 Summit. And Wednesday, day 2, was the day of our keynote presentation. The keynote was given by Ian Jarman of IBM. And his talk went on for a little more than an hour, so I can't get the whole thing, unfortunately, into this YouTube, but I'm going to give you some key points. So he kind of started out by telling us why IBM thought it was important to merge I and P.
So first of all, let me just talk a little bit about System I and System D and how we unified those products, bringing them together in 2008. Because this really couldn't be more important to all of us in the I community. Because really what we wanted to do here was to make sure that IBM I, our operating system and your applications, were in the mainstream of what was going on inside IBM and the mainstream of the industry. So we really needed to bring those two things together. Now we didn't do this in 1 year or 2 years. We actually did it over a process of 10 years. Since the mid-90s, we were gradually bringing the processes together. And a lot of people said at the time when we introduced Power 5, including Gartner and other analysts, hey IBM, why didn't you unify them in 2005 when it was getting pretty close? And the answer was, we would have liked to have done that, but there still would have been some disruption to either I or Unix customers had we just smashed things together before they were ready. But actually, the transition is very simple because we spent these 10 years making it easy and seamless for you. In the case of IBM I, since we introduced Power 6 about 18 months ago, today 100% of our customers are buying Power 6. So we have no Power 5 left in the marketplace today. So that tells you that the transition is complete. So everybody is buying these Power systems. Now this is really interesting because these types of technology transitions are very hard indeed. And if you want to look at how hard they are, look outside our little world in the industry. And if you look, for example, how long it took HP to move their customers from PA-RISC to Itanium, it was a huge multi-year transition. If you look at HP, of course everybody knows that they're now finally on Itanium. But even if they deliver Tukwila, which they're expected to do later than expected next year, a lot of people think that might be final Itanium processor, and they might be forced to make another migration to x86 perhaps from Halo. So we believe that within a couple of years there's going to be 2 major platforms in the industry left, x86 and Power. And from an IBM I point of view, feels really good to be on one of those platforms squarely in the mainstream of what's going on in the industry. So, a lot of people outside the I community, I've heard this, I'm sure you have too, the AS100 is dead, we don't know what's going on, etc., etc. We are right now in a fantastic position because we're square in the mainstream of what IBM is investing in and the winner in the industry. So we have pitched our train, our wagons, to an incredible, powerful train in the IBM business.
Ian also made it very clear that Power 7, the next generation of the hardware and power systems, is definitely coming next year.
But this you can guarantee we will deliver Power 7 in 2010. No question about that. It's in our systems today, testing and so on. And by the way, it's going very well.
He also talked about the OS releases. He says there's going to be a minor release, 6.1.1, that he expects actually to release yet in 2009, with an announcement coming next week. He also said that by the time the Common Conference comes around in spring, that IBM will have announced version 7.1 of the IBM I operating system.
One in October, actually next week we're making that announcement. Since we're here today, why not talk all about that? We are in that kind of minor enhancements. Often in October we do I/O related enhancements. So you'll see there support for more I/O both external and internal storage, which I'll talk about in a moment. Then the next big thing that we're doing is IBM i7.1. This is going to come next year. People say when, and I say, well, if it comes common next year, you'll see it there for sure.
He also said that they're actually starting now to plan out 7.2, so they're having meetings, I guess, on that and starting to figure out what they're going to put into that release.
So really the discussion just on the phone yesterday afternoon when I was here, and we were talking about 7.2 and what's going to be in there. For example, we were discussing topics like partition hibernation, live partition mobility, and some of the other highlights we'll have in that release. So 7.2, currently we're thinking 2012 for that release.
So Ian talked for an hour, and I've only got a few minutes on this YouTube, and so I'm going to try to condense this a little bit more by just giving you the highlights myself. He talked about DB2 web query and how that's an important product from IBM's perspective that he feels is something that they were missing before, and that they're going to keep working on that going forward. He feels that Power HA is an important product for the whole power system, the high availability product. He talked about solid state drives. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is he said that solid state drives right now are too expensive to be practical to run an entire server on solid state drives. He said IBM would love to try to sell them to you, but you're going to spend a lot of money. But he said that what you can do is just maybe have one solid state drive to take the place of part of your DASD, and then somehow have that be used for the stuff that needs a lot of disk access to get the performance of a solid state drive. The way single level store works, it's already good at finding the stuff that you're using frequently and moving it into memory, and finding the stuff that's not as frequently and putting it on DASD. So adding in for IBM to add in the extra part needed to move the stuff that's used frequently onto solid state disks, it would just be a good fit. So I thought that was pretty cool. It gives us an advantage in the marketplace over some of the competitors in performance. He also got into, and this was the part I think everyone was waiting for. Unfortunately, it was very short, and towards the end, after a very long talk, he talked about the main new enhancements coming in RPG, and the big thing coming is called OpenIO.
Really interested in what we can do going forward to open up RPG. And now, in order to do this, if you look at what we've done over time, right from the very beginning of RPG, we've always written out to a 5250 data stream. And regardless of what you've done with that data stream afterwards, put it to green screen, put it to converted it, web-based it, converted it, whatever it is, there's always been a 5250 data stream involved in RPG.
I find it hard to agree with that. I've written hundreds, maybe even 1,000 programs that don't use any 5250 data.
So this is actually quite radical. What we're intending to do here is, for the first time, allow you not to output to a 5250 data stream, but to use RPG OpenIO to output to I/O handlers that could then be written directly for devices like a web browser, like an iPod, mobile devices, XML, web services, and so on.
And the idea with OpenIO is that you can code routines that take the place of files. So you can use traditional RPG input-output record I/O, but instead of it actually going to disk and accessing a file, it actually calls routines on the back end, and you can write your own code to get that data any way you want. So IBM's not actually providing code to interface with iPods or the other things he's talking about, but they're giving you the ability actually to write that yourself, and hopefully that'll spur the vendors to at least provide it. So that was Ian Jarman's keynote presentation. Now I've run out of space for more commentary on Wednesday at RPG and DB2 Summit, so if you want to see what happened after the keynote, I'll put up a part 2 video right here on the Dark Bagel channel.